The line is getting blurred from the the professional to down to the amateur, and also the line is getting blurred between what journalism is and what being a participant in democracy, because so much information is available to really anyone. You can grab your information in bits, in chunks, where the role of journalism could be is more of an aggregator now. It seems of information.
I believe that journalists can be public servants to a great degree and can provide the public with critical information they need to know. Now that's changing because information is becoming abundant. So now the journalist's role is shifting from someone who used to just disseminate it to someone who now has to interact with their audience, has to learn how to filter through tons of information, what's the most meaningful stuff. So it's changing, and that also interests me quite a bit too.
Fluency and flexibility is really what is necessary for this. Yes, you have to be a jack of all trades. On some level, you have to have that fluency to at least know what's going on. I mean, on a very practical level, how do I picture myself? I picture myself as a storyteller going out and asking the questions as a reporter. I also envision myself depending on somebody who really has that knowledge of web developing and working as a team. That's how I see it. I envision myself working in a team. At the same time, with the ability, if it comes down to it, to work solo and knowing exactly what I need to get, thinking about the digital interface, thinking about what is necessary for the nuts and bolts of digital news.
Being a jack of all trades today kind of involves a lot of different technologies, but the technologies are becoming so easy to use that that's really not much of a jack of all trades thing going forward. So definitely the trend is to be more niche oriented and to be focusing and to become an expert in one particular field.
I think that it's going to be more of a broad skill set in general that you're going to need, but that you'll focus on a niche, on your beat, and you'll be really good at that because someone else is going to know how to fix cars better than you, is going to know the movie industry better than you. Just like traditional reporters have had their beats in the past. I think that is tried and true, is going to remain the same, especially on the local level. As far as the technical skills go, I mean, again, look at the tools, Mogulus, Quick. These things, you install the software, you hit record, and in theory, it's going to work.
As a user, it's exciting. I don't know, I'm sure there's bad things, but right now I'm loving it. Like everything that I'm learning to do and everything that as I'm learning, I'm looking at different examples of what other people have done, and I think there's a lot of good stuff out there.
I was sitting next to a woman who had to be in her mid to late 50s, and she's trying to grasp what these new tools are, and she's just not from a generation that that can get that has a mind that is as fluid as it would take to understand, because these technologies, they change on a daily basis, right? So it's not like you can focus yourself on any one point in time. You kind of have to build something into your brain to always accept open things and to replace the things that you've already accepted. So older journalists, I don't necessarily, I think there's going to be a lot of storytellers on the market, and they'll be coming cheap. You'll be able to utilize them in really cool ways, probably. So what that means, I don't know, but there'll be a lot of people out there.
One of the biggest challenges is how media connects to local communities, because for so long it's been a one-way sort of street, and within the past decade, with blogs and forums, the communication has gotten much more. It goes both ways now, but I don't know that we've fully embraced that, and also it's ambiguous. Since there is so much information out there now, and people are, to an extent, those that have access, are able to contribute. How do you sort through that? I mean, you have to have certain quality, right? Certain standard for this work. So, does one supplant the other? I hope not. I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think citizen journalism replaces professional journalism. I don't think professional journalism exists without citizen journalism. I think it's going to be a mix of both.
Journalists will need to understand how to utilize their community to deputize certain influencers in that community, to be a resource to that community, and to sort of shepherd that community through the process of reporting news from a particular area.
If you see yourself more as a blogger, I would say that it is useful for you to know how to do everything yourself and to be as fluent in it, and that's a full-time job in of itself. If you see yourself working with a network, you want to work in a team, or being able to have that specialization instead of jack of all trades. I mean, I guess you'd see yourself more in a network.
It's interesting too because it also varies on where you're at. I think it varies on if you are in a place in a big media company where you are more specialized and located in a big city versus if you're in a not in a population center. If you're in rural America or rural wherever, that you're going to have to be a jack of all trades by necessity because there's simply no one else there to do it. So I think it also depends a little bit on where you live, where you're reporting from.
Only 13% of the world has internet access. We got a ways to go before this is really something that can make a huge impact and really reach the masses. We're not really reaching the masses right now. But, it's exciting because we are on the edge of what is going to become probably much more prevalent and very powerful for the fact that it is so accessible to everyday people.
There are these underserved markets technologically, okay? But that's really where all the growth is going to be occurring. I mean, you're going to all of a sudden have, and you do have this already right now among people who already have access to the internet and are able to now create a community out of people who appreciate a particular car or a particular anything. There's a community out there that forms either ad hoc, like it'll happen, when the topic becomes in fashion, or it'll always be there. But there will be a crowd already formed around that. It'll be difficult finding those crowds. Those crowds are the experts on those individual things. But you'll need a journalist that can put all that into context and stitch all that together.
The more people you're working with, the better it works out. I'm less stressed out. You have a job. We're all working together. We report together, and we work together, and party together, and drink together. I mean, it's all part of a team effort. Definitely.
The idea is you want to be better at storytelling or better at what you're doing than anyone else. I mean, if you have sort of the same grasp, since the technology is getting progressively easier, if you want to still stand out and be of value and make a living, you have to be producing great content. So have a thorough knowledge of sort of everything, but then within that set just be really killer. Maybe you're just really killer on video, and you go out and do man on the street humorous news every day at noon for an hour, and you package that together. And maybe you grab a few stills along the way. Maybe you have a photographer who helps out, but video's your thing. Or maybe you do a photo blog, and you happen to bring along a little camera like that, and you take a little video just to add a little bit to the site. But I think it's getting more broad. You need more skills, but you definitely still need to nail whatever you're doing, or else who's going to want to pay for it or watch it?